Got a fan theory on Stan Lee's appearances in the MCU? Well, Kevin Feige just commented on it. I'm Sasha Perl-Raver, and this is Screen Junkies News. Fans have long theorized that all of Stan Lee's Marvel cameos may actually be connected. Now, here's where we are going to stop and warn you that if you do not want to find out if or how this might be true, or have any possible references to Guardians of the Galaxy 2, this is your spoiler alert. Go away. We love you, but go away. You back? You want to hear it? All right, Internet. Pat yourselves on the back. Because according to Screen Rant, Kevin Feige confirmed the theory that all of Stan's cameos, including Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, are connected. Kevin said, quote, "We thought it would be fun to put that in there because that really says, so wait a minute, he's the same character who's popping up in all of these films?" Well, now, it doesn't confirm who Stan is playing, but it does confirm that the cameos are related. Ha-ha! Now, what does this mean for the MCU moving forward? With me to discuss are Cinema Blend's Eric Eisenberg and Mr. Matt Key. All right, Kitty Boos. More importantly than what blah, blah, blah Screen Rant has to say, Eric Eisenberg, you spoke with Kevin Feige and with James Gunn.
I did.
And they actually had something to say about this.
I did, and actually you can find those up all on Cinema Blend. There's a plug there for you guys.
Yay, plugs!
But essentially, what it was is, yes, that Stan Lee has been playing the same character throughout the entire history of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But to take it even a step further, and this is the actual specific question that I asked.
Wait!
Ready for this? Yeah. It's not just the MCU.
Spoiler alert again! Another spoiler alert! Do you want to know? It's up to you. Do you want to wait until you watch the movie? Do you want to come back after you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Or no? Go forth and conquer.
The answer is that it may just be every single Marvel cameo, not just MCU. So we're talking Spider-Man, we're talking X-Men, everything else, Fantastic Four, Hulk, all of it. Same character, and like when I asked that to first James Gunn, he said he wouldn't 100% say, but he certainly says the totally blank on that word.
The implication?
Implication is there, and more than that, that Stan Lee, even in our universe, may be the same Stan Lee that we are currently seeing doing all of these MCU cameos. Because yeah, it's a wide multiverse. There's a lot for Stan Lee to be kind of keeping his brain on and keeping pay attention to. So yeah, there's a little bit of a mind bender for you. You ready for this?
Who? If he's not playing Stan Lee, who is he playing, Matt Key?
Well, I think he's playing Stan Lee. I think he is Stan Lee.
So he is playing Stan Lee.
Well, this is I think the whole detail that we're going to get into.
This is such a great stoner conversation.
Sure.
Yeah.
If Stan Lee is actually Stan Lee in the world.
So wait, you're saying Stan Lee is Stan Lee?
Yes.
Whoa. Oh, so many paths. Captain Crunch. What? Mind blown.
Someone get my s'mores Pop-Tarts.
Those are delicious.
Right?
I haven't had those yet.
Right?
Well,
oh, dude.
Oh my God. We've got completely off topic at this point.
I was about to say,
S'mores and birthday cake Pop-Tarts.
Nice. Okay. On the side.
So let's actually get into legit major big time
What is
spoilers.
actually here, yes.
So if you have not seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, you do not want to know this. If you have seen Volume 2, you know that there are a number of Easter eggs.
Yes.
The final Easter egg features Stan Lee very heavily.
It does.
Eric, can you talk about it a little bit?
I can. It's part of, actually, it's not just a post-credit scene, it's also a scene in the middle of the movie where actually it's Rocket and Yondu and Groot flying by in a spaceship, where you see on this planet Stan Lee standing with a bunch of these weird-looking alien dudes. And these alien dudes are actually the Watchers from Marvel Comics, which is this race of alien extraterrestrial beings who are very ancient and essentially assigned to watch over existence. They each have their own specific quadrant that they're supposed to pay attention to, and they're not really meant to be like get involved with what's going on in each universe. They're just supposed to be watchers.
Right.
So that is, and so it's what we learn in this scene and the post-credit scene is that Stan Lee is essentially an agent of these watchers who has been floating around and interacting with the world.
Matt, you look so happy about this.
I am tremendously happy. Like the Watchers are some of my favorite characters in the comics, specifically Uatu. Uatu is the Watcher assigned to, there he is.
There's the guy.
Uatu is the one who, he lives on our moon in what's called the blue area of the moon, which is kind of an area that actually has like a pocket of oxygen. And he watches the Earth from there. And he only ever appears on Earth to witness the most catastrophic events firsthand. Right. So he doesn't cause those events, but he's always a very bad omen when he shows up, and all the heroes know.
A perfect example is actually, we just saw it on the screen, when he shows up during Civil War. That's when they realize, oh, crap.
Oh, this is bad. His first appearance was actually Fantastic Four 13, but his first major appearance was when he appeared a few issues later when Galactus was coming, and all of a sudden the Watcher's there, and he's like,
I love that
the World Devourer is coming.
The flag that we're about to see like horrendous destruction is like, that's my favorite one. Now,
no, it's just so interesting though, because like his job, like Eric was saying, is to watch the Earth and catalog all of the knowledge from there, because their race, they're a primordial race. They're one of the first races to ever exist in the entire universe. They're billions of years old, their civilization. And they created all this various wonderful technology, and they started sharing them with burgeoning civilizations, and then discovered that those civilizations just used it to destroy each other.
Yeah.
So they were like, you know what? Our job is to collect the knowledge, not necessarily to share it.
This is totally like a Nat Geo cameraman, like the guy who records the know crocodile eating the baby lion or whatever.
Try and save the lion.
Yeah, it's like Star Trek's Prime Directive. You can't interfere in that civilization's progress.
You cannot.
But the Watcher oftentimes does.
Yes, breaks those rules.
He breaks the rules a lot. He's a rule breaker, that Uatu.
He's the rebel Watcher.
He's a rebel Watcher.
All right, so with all of this, you've already brought up a tender subject around here, which is a little something called Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Something that makes a lot of people nervous. But it does bring in an interesting question about who actually owns the Watchers, the rights. Eric, you also spoke with Feige about this.
This is something I spoke with Kevin Feige about, because I had that exact same question coming out of it, because, as noted, Uatu specifically first showed up in Fantastic Four comics. You'd think that, especially just all the adventures he's been on, is specifically within those rights.
Yeah.
As it turns out, what I learned from Kevin Feige is that Uatu, yes, very much does belong to Fox. Only Fox can use Uatu as a character. However, because the Watchers as a race were introduced in the Strange Tales comic, the race itself actually belongs to Marvel. So they can use any character from the Watcher species that they want, except for Uatu.
So Matt, you did some research into this. What is the arrangement that they have? Is it just that they can use whomever they want, or?
So it's very similar to Fox, with like Fox owns the rights to the Super Skrull. So the Super Skrull is a character who has all the powers of the Fantastic Four in one person. It's a very specific character. However, Marvel can use the Skrulls, right, as a race,
which are a shape-shifting alien race.
But what happened, like to speak specifically to the rights issues, what Marvel did, Marvel was going as a publisher, was going bankrupt in the 90s, and they didn't have someone like Warner Brothers running DC. So like Warner Brothers, like, we're a giant studio, we're good, like you guys can keep doing your comics. Marvel didn't have that. So they started just throwing out all of their IPs as much as they could as sort of like lifelines. But instead of just saying, Fox, you now have the rights to every single Fantastic Four character, they were like, here's a lot of the Fantastic Four characters. By the way, here's also some cherry-picked other characters, and they did that with like Lionsgate. There's another L one, not Legendary. There's Lionsgate. The people who did Blade. That wasn't Lionsgate.
Oh, that was
New Line.
New Line. That was it. New Line.
Yeah. So like New Line got a lot of more horror related characters, and I think they had the Punisher. I think they had Daredevil, because those are all characters who could revolve around that sort of project.
And that's more of their brand. Their brand was more like
exactly. So it wasn't necessarily that New Line had the rights to every single Daredevil character. It was, well, Daredevil could go hand in hand with Blade and that sort of like street level hero. So they did kind of package deals, which is why the rights issues at Marvel are so weird.
Yeah.
So
well, and with the rights issues at Marvel, and sort of with what we're talking about, like I said, Fantastic Four is a really sensitive subject for a lot of people. Is there a possibility here that fan cries will be heard and the rights will revert from Sony or Fox, from Fox to Marvel?
That's the long conversation. Essentially, because a lot of people think about what happened with Daredevil a couple of years ago, where eventually the rights ran out and he reverted back, and now we have the Daredevil Netflix show, which we're all very happy about.
Sure.
The question is, though, is there any incentive for Fox to give up the Fantastic Four? Because
you craft the bag.
In terms of money,
if you love something, let it go. If it comes back to you, it was meant to be.
But the way that these rights typically work, and this was also the case with the Roger Corman Fantastic Four back in the 90s, is that when you make a movie, you essentially reboot the contract. You essentially say, like, now that we've made this movie, we're going to have the contract for X amount of years.
Another
after
8 years or
I
whatever
believe it's 8 years.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works. So the question is does Fox think that the Fantastic Four brand is dead enough that even after 8 years, they can't still make a Fantastic Four movie popular. That is the incentive to sell back to Marvel, because that's the idea that they just can't make any more money off of it.
When was it 2015 that came out?
Fantastic Four, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've essentially got 6 more years to figure out how to.
Right.
And does it have to come out within those 6 years, or is it just has to enter into development?
I think, well, the weird thing about especially Daredevil was that they were like very much rushing to try and start production on Daredevil, and with Joe Carnahan directing, and it didn't get done to a certain point. So I'm not entirely like, it might have to be like cameras have to start rolling, or like
it has
a
to be
script
like
has to be in a certain direction.
Production, but
But I will say also that a specific rule that I've heard is that if Fantastic Four wants to, if Fox wants to redo the rights, that they can't do that by specifically just making a like movie based on one of their Fantastic Four characters. You couldn't have like a Silver Surfer and Galactus movie and still bring about
retain the rights.
Retain the rights, because apparently what it needs is you need Fantastic Four to be in the title. Which is essentially, actually, from what I understand, the reason why X-Men Origins Wolverine has X-Men in the title, because that movie obviously has nothing to do with X-Men, but
X-Men Origins
But it's
Wolverine.
great that you brought up X-Men, because I feel like Fox right now has had so much success with the X-Men. There really isn't any necessity to hold on to this. And not just Fox, like, I mean the whole umbrella company. FX with Legion, Fox Studios with the movie. And now we've got Inhumans coming out. Oh, wait, Inhumans is going to be ABC.
Marvel, yeah.
And that's ABC,
So, but
they do have another show coming out. And
there just seems to me like it doesn't really, they don't need it.
Well, Fox has proven, at least by my opinion, that they don't really get Fantastic Four. They don't know how to do the Fantastic Four. I think that if they had trusted Josh Trank's initial vision of like this very Cronenbergian body horror, like I think if they had just gone full on with that, I think that could have been an interesting film. And science is dangerous and very interesting in that way. And I was excited to see that film. But I think Fox got a little nervous on it, and rightfully so, because Fantastic Four really isn't that. Like, it's a little off-brand for them. They're a family and they go on adventures. It's Buck Rogers, you know. It should
be bright and happy. It's
it's
look at the powder blue suits, absolutely, yeah.
You know, so like I don't think that they get that tone of it, of like science is adventure and discovery and, you know, retro 50s space.
Like Guardians kind of gets that tone.
I want
really.
Bill Nye in this movie so bad.
I know. Bill Nye would be great for Fantastic Four. So
just for a cameo.
I think that Fox doesn't necessarily get the Fantastic Four. They get the X-Men.
They do.
Like I wish that they did the X-Men films a little bit differently, but I still enjoy those films. They still get them and do well with them. Fantastic Four, they just can't do. So.
Well, we're talking about world building. We're talking about bringing things together with the news that all of these cameos from Stan Lee are connected. What do you think the larger message is? Is this sort of like a Pixar thing where they're just like, we're just giving you guys a little something, something because we want you to know that everything's together? Or is this really something where they're like, no, we own everything. We always have our minds working, and this is all interconnected, and it's a master plan.
I think it is. I mean, especially specifically for this Stan Lee cameo, I think it is just for fans. I mean, because I guess 4 or 5 years ago, I actually wrote up an article on Cinema Blend that says, like, is Stan Lee playing the same character in every single Marvel movie? And so, like, this is kind of just a reward for fans who, like, you put out a theory, it kind of works. It's not exactly what people were saying, because people were saying that he might actually be specifically a Uatu. Obviously not the case, but I just think it is kind of a reward for fans who have been like, who have had the passion enough to even like toss out a theory, like the idea that he may actually be the same character in every single Marvel movie, regardless of rights and yada yada. So yeah, that's kind of how I view this entire thing.
I feel like Marvel has gotten to a place now where they're not so much like giving fans films so much as they're in a conversation with the fans. Like, it feels like, you know, Phase 1, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, that was all like, look, this is all we've got, but we're gonna do the best. What do you guys think? We hope, please like it. We like it. And I think by Phase 2, it's proven, oh, we like these things. Avengers, great film. And, you know, like, keep going. And I think now they're like, look at what we gonna do. This is amazing. Stan Lee, sure, he's connected. Do you guys like? This is awesome, right? Like, I feel like they're almost in a conversation about like, this is amazing that we get to do this and that you get to come and enjoy this. Like, this is dumb. Like, this is so fun, right? So.
And I think even in general, the entire way this franchise has been built to this point has kind of been moving in that direction. Because another thing that James Gunn told me is that when he was making Guardians of the Galaxy, he knew he wanted Ego the Living Planet to be Star-Lord's father, but he didn't tell Kevin Feige about it until after Guardians was a hit. And but I think that specifically speaks to a kind of way that this franchise has grown, because while you may not be able to get away with Ego being Star-Lord's father, the fact that people embrace the weirdness, and like Marvel comics are weird. They are so weird sometimes. And like Strange, I think Doctor Strange is a perfect example of kind of the exploitation of that as well. But the point
Where
is,
am I,
like,
Doctor Strange? What?
as far as like as the further that this franchise goes, the more boundaries you can push, the weirder you can make it, and you get stuff like Stan Lee being a
So,
watcher,
speculation.
Yeah.
If you were to guess, where do you think we will see Stan Lee turn up in Thor Ragnarok? Is he going to be in the on Hulk Planet in the stadium?
I'm gonna say,
is he...
he's gonna be kind of a spectator in the stadium.
I think he'll be a spectator, or he'll like, you know what might be really funny if he's he's the guy that has to like clean the gladiators or something.
I think he's going to be like the rodeo clown who has to distract the Hulk.
Oh my god, he's like,
That's what I think.
my god.
And he's like, I hate this job. And he like runs away.
Over here, green guy,
I'm
over here.
serious. I think that's what he might do.
And he has to like dive in a barrel.
Oh man, I can't wait for that movie.
That movie looks
well.
fantastic.
We want to know: do you have any theories that we can try to prove? And do you have a favorite Stan Lee cameo? Let us know in the comments below. You can tweet us at SJ News. Make sure to like and subscribe, and of course, you can always click here for more Screen Junkies news.